This video is sponsored by Wildlife Command Center Coffee. More about them at the end of the video. Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with another Dark Park Film Reviews. And today, Dark Park Film Reviews. What am I talking about? We're going to start this again. I'm in the wrong show. Okay, so all right, here we go again. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing.
You got to let that in.
I may. That's what I get for being old. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with another one filmmaker, one film. And today my guests are...
Do you want to go first?
No, you.
I'm David Mankey. I'm the owner of Dark Shade Films. I started it in 2011. In 2012, I made my first feature, and we're just getting ready to finish up our 7th. On Wednesday, actually.
And I'm his girlfriend. My name is Mia Custer. I am a photographer and usually one of the leading actresses in his films, and I help produce and make the movies.
Nice. And today we are here to talk about Blood in the Dark. And I thank both of you for being here so we can discuss this fine film.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Yes, it's been a long time coming. So before we get into the film, I've started this new thing where I show my collection of stuff. And one, it's a giant tax write-off, and it also, kisses your butt a little bit. And it shows what a geek I am and how much money I spend on this stuff when I probably could fund my own film with the amount of stuff that I've bought. So that's why I'm going to sell these right when I get done with this and put that money towards making a film. Is that fair? I think
Fair.
that's
It's a good
okay.
idea.
I mean, you already made money off of it. I've already watched them. So why do I need to keep them? I mean,
Right.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
sell them too.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to start with, and I have a question. Now your company is Dark Shade Creek, but you're Dark Shade Creek Films, but your first film is Dark Shade Creek.
Yeah.
So what came first?
Well, the company's not Dark Shade Creek Films. It's just Dark Shade Films.
Films, correct. Yes, I am wrong on that.
And then, so I actually used to drive. I don't know how many people out there have ever heard of a bookmobile.
Oh,
Have you ever heard of a bookmobile?
I have. You have it's filled with books and you drive around to different locations. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I did that for 11 or 12 years. That was my main profession. And I did that for the county that I lived in at the time. And one of the towns that we went to was called Shade. And it was run down and dirty, and well, I better not, who the hell knows if anybody from there is going to watch this. It was a great town.
They know.
But we always used to park out in front of this one place. It was a community stop, and we parked in front of this diner that was called the Sunshine Diner. And up the street, just a little bit by the drugstore, was this old rundown bridge with an orange creek running underneath it, with a road sign that said Dark Shade Creek. Not a road sign, like a river advertisement. That was the name of the river. It was Dark Shade Creek. And I just said, I should make a scary movie someday and call it Dark Shade Creek. I don't know why I thought that. That's just what I thought. And eventually I talked to my friends, and then after we got into the whole thing, it turned out that it was going to happen, and it did happen. And then my buddy's like, well, you need a name. You need a company name. And I was like, well, hell, I don't know. Dark Shade Films, it goes with the movie. Never thought we would do a 2 or a 3 or anything else. And it just sort of stuck after that. That's just the name of the company, Dark Shade Films.
Okay. So I got it wrong. Now I'm embarrassed, and now I feel really horrible because I it's just not.
You said
correct.
you did your homework.
I know, and I failed at that homework, didn't I? So I mean, I'm not a good person to begin with, so I lie a lot. So I probably did barely any homework on this. So I'm just going off of the picture on the box, and I barely could see that because I wear glasses. But I enjoyed this. These actually, and here's part 2. So this is how I know you, is actually from these 2 films.
Right.
It's got the OG releases.
Yeah. Whenever I get this new movie done, when I send you your copy, I'll send you Dark Shade Creek 1 and 2 that are mine.
Oh.
Because that is when I had the contract through, I don't even remember the name of the company. Does it say on there who released them?
Yes, the same company that I work with, the Screamtime Films, who released the
Yeah.
So yeah, we got them right there. Yeah, right.
That's their artwork.
Okay.
So, but if you would like the other 2, I'll just send them along with yours.
Yeah, I would love it, because then I could
Wait.
just add them to the, to the collection here. So, because I mean, they have a very distinct look about their films, and I don't think. So I know some of them. So I like showing the backs and stuff like that. So there's the back. I mean, I've always enjoyed their films. So here's part 2. And I really looked forward to these 2 when they came out, because you always end them on a cliffhanger.
I tried. I did try. We started part 2 right where part 1 left off.
Yeah.
And it was 2.5 years later. So we had to go back to the same cabin, get everything dressed the way it was the night we ended. And then sure enough, after that, we had to do part 3, but we didn't have to do any of them, but we wanted to, and people wanted us to.
So John, did you buy those from Screamtime Films and then found him on social media after watching his movies? Is that how you 2 met?
I don't recall how we met.
I want to say, I think David was promoting them, and I thought they looked, or at least Screamtime Films was promoting them. And then I want to say that I bought them, watched them, really enjoyed them, and then I reached out to David. And
I remember watching your video when you showed them in one of your videos, like one of your room tours or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I took the camera like around, and I spotlighted them. I made sure that people saw the spine.
I remember.
And said that you should buy these, because I really enjoyed them. And I think that's when I reached out and said, hey, I gave you like a little spotlight in it. And then you said, oh yeah, we're making a part 3. And then I got this. I believe I bought this directly from you.
Yeah, you did.
Look at that. It's even signed right there. Right there. Look how special that is.
That's pretty special.
Yeah. And it still kind of has the same covers and stuff as the first one. So they kind of go together.
Yeah, I didn't take a lot of behind the scenes picture, unfortunately now, because time just flies by, and I didn't take a lot of pictures then. Nobody really took a lot of pictures, and it was the first one, and nobody thought it was going to turn into anything, and nobody thought anything. We just thought we were passing a summer, friends making a movie. And now we all wish we had pictures of this or pictures of that. So I basically sent Screamtime anything that I had, and they used them how they could. So they are definitely similar, because I didn't have a lot to work with as far as artwork and pictures.
Todd likes to do these types of backs with like the red borders, and his stuff looks very similar from like film to film, which is fine. I guess it's a template that he probably uses over and over again, but that's all right. And then this one, we get to see, almost the girl's hiney. What are you selling here? What are you saying here? What is this telling me?
I'm trying to sell.
Even if the movie's bad, you still get to see something good.
Good point. There we go. I like that. And this one's part 3 seemed to have a bigger budget, because you had the off-road vehicles in it.
Yes. Surprisingly enough, I don't think the vehicles added to the budget. Different things did add to the budget, but the black one was actually mine at the time, and then I paid for the gas, and the other one because it was my neighbor's.
Okay.
And he let us take it out into the woods and shoot with it.
Now, the two people that I know that were in this, I know Jade LaFond and Tony Brown.
Right.
So that's how, so I knew you from this, but then they reached out to me too and said that I need to watch this. And it was like, dude, already doing it, already on it, you know, don't worry about it. So, and this is a Trail to Hell. Part 3 is Trail to Hell. No subtitle on this one though, on part 2. But subtitle on part 3.
On mine there is.
Oh,
when you get mine there will be.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the Dark Shade Creek 2 the next night.
All right. You know, I think this is the same 2 that he used for Xmas 2. It looks very familiar.
It looks just like it.
I'm pretty sure that, yeah. If not, it's very similar. And this actually came with some stuff in it. So this is the inside of it. And you sent me a whole bunch of business cards. So I have a whole bunch of business cards. I never gave them out. I'm sorry. I kept them as like collectibles. I apologize. So
I need to redo them. I'm in the middle of redoing my business cards.
And then you have the Dark Shade Creek with like a little insert. So I like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for a part 4.
Well, I was gonna say the card that you just held up, that sign, the Dark Shade Creek sign, I'm not 100% sure where that is. That was the original one from the original movie. And I actually laid it on the ground and had my wife at the time step on it for the teaser. Or yeah, the teaser. Or was it the trailer? No, it was the teaser. And then I just took a picture of it after she took her foot away, and then that's the picture for the insert. And we're making part 4 soon. We have next Wednesday is the last shoot for Winter Wasteland, which is what we're finishing up now. And then we're going to start writing Dark Shade Creek 4.
10 years later.
Yeah, 10 years later. It's actually exactly 10 years later. So,
and I'm guessing Mia's going to be in it, of course.
Mia will be in it. Hopefully John Ward will be in it.
Me
Again, this will be what, like your fourth time?
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I have a few filmmakers, you know, directors and stuff that I now work with, and I really enjoy that. I really like being part of your films, even if it's just
love it too,
a voice or whatever it is. So I like that. So because part 4 is a bucket list movie for me. So that's honest. You laugh, but it's true. It is.
It's a bucket list movie for me too.
Yeah, I mean, I really.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say you know, because I really enjoyed this. I was always hoping that you would make part 4, and so it's kind of like me being in Easter Bunny Bloodbath part 2. You know, I love the first one, so I want to be in the second one, and I was. So that was a bucket list film there. So this is now another one.
You'll be in it for sure.
Awesome, thank you.
I told him whenever we started making movies again, I said, you're gonna have to make a Dark Shade Creek 4. And he was just like, well, let's just do it now. And I said, no, you're so close to 10 years, to the 10-year mark. I said, if you want it to be special and want it to be, I said, you should just wait. Let's make something else and, you know, do something to fill the time. In the meantime, I said, and then let's make it in 2022 and make it Dark Shade Creek 4 10 years later, because that is, I mean, you know, landmark.
Oh yeah, and so you're not going to follow the recent trend and just call it Dark Shade Creek, and it will be a sequel to only this one.
I don't think so. I think we'll call it Dark Shade Creek 4.
Thank you for chapter. That. The final chapter. You got to give it to other people to kind of have them do their own thing. Make it a franchise. Get like 10 of them.
We probably will.
I was thinking you don't have to do a thing.
I was planning out part 7, and I think we're gonna have a telekinetic girl in it.
I like that. And then the killer will be in the lake.
Yes.
Yes, it's a pretty original plot.
And I think in part 8, I think we're gonna send Cyrus to New York.
Okay. And then from there he gets launched into space, something like that. or maybe go to hell.
Kind of scary. You already know our ideas.
I know. I read minds very well.
You'll have to excuse the goose honking on the floor. Our little puppy Matilda has a collapsing trachea, and when she wakes up from her naps and she breathes out, it's closing, so she honks like a goose.
Oh wow, you actually mentioned that in the film that she has that. So yeah.
Because we were worried that she was going to start honking periodically, and
we just filmed so much of the movie in the house, and I just wanted to make sure that we established that in the beginning. That way, if at any point in any time in the movie she starts, it's already talked about. And then she never coughed once throughout the whole movie. Never once.
Why'd I bring it up?
Right. Like we could have just left that out.
Yeah. Well, and now this brings us to more current stuff. So now we go into Dark October.
Yeah.
So there you go. And this is the first one that I worked with you on, right?
I wrote the script for that 2.5 years before we even made it. I was married for 15 years, and then things didn't work out. She left. I thought my life was over. Didn't know that it was just starting. And I met her, and she was like, what the hell is this? And I said, that's a script I was going to make my next movie. It was, actually, I wrote it. It was called Dark November. But then I changed everything because I didn't want to have to deal with the snow, and I like Halloween way better.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, we need to make this. And she knows everybody. She knows 1,000 females, and she had no problem. Excuse me, no problem getting the cast together. So
yeah, I mean, I got with him because I bought his movies off of him. I was like, well, what are you gonna do now? And he's like, well, I haven't made a movie in 3 years. And I said, why? You didn't go more than 1.5 years in between your other movies. Well, what's, and he said, I had to move, I had to do this, I had to do that. I'm like, okay, well, you're settled, so why wait? And then I saw the script. I was like, you have a script? I said, let's do this thing. So I got a hold of some of my friends, and that was our first adventure together.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. How did you two meet?
Well, she made it a point to find out who added who on Facebook first.
Because I had no idea. I just all of a sudden I started seeing his stuff, and I didn't know. And then I found out a way to find out. He added me. And
after my wife left, I was, sad, down, and social media helped a lot because there were like-minded people on Facebook, and we could talk about scary movies and horror collecting and whatever. And I was constantly periodically adding people whose profiles looked as though they were similar to mine. So it turned out that I did add her.
So he
okay.
posted that he had the trilogy for sale, Dark Shade Creek 1, 2, and 3. And I was like, what? Somebody made horror movies like in the county that I'm from? And we're from small town, rural Pennsylvania. So I was like, holy cow, this is so cool. I need to watch them. So I bought them. I messaged him. I bought them off of him. He mailed them to me. And then me and my friend Tanya and her sister Hannah had a girls' day where we just watched all 3 of them in one day, had wine, had snacks, and popped the first one in, and it says Josh Mankey. And I was like, I know Josh Mankey. I tried to buy a couch off of him. So I'm messaging him. I'm like, how do you know Josh? And he's like, oh, he's my brother. And then I'd see somebody else that I'd know and be like, how do you know her? And so, and whenever it comes down to it, I took dance lessons in the town that he's from. So we weren't far from each other our whole lives, but never knew the other one.
We didn't know each other because of there's quite an age gap.
However, your wife used to do hair for the girls that I danced with. So I still could have known who you were.
Could have.
So to me, that's perfect. I know a few couples that are boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband and wife that work together. And I think that's great. That's actually something that I would love. And I've had many friends say, John, why aren't you dating? Why aren't you going out? Because I want to meet somebody who wants to do what I want to do. And so far I haven't, so I would rather just do my stuff instead of have somebody tell me horror movies are lame. They suck, and I would rather be with somebody who wants to be an actress or a producer. So I think it's great that you two met and that you could work together. And I've now, as far as I know, it's 3 films, right? Or is there more that you two have worked on?
3, and then this newest one will be the 4th one that her and I have done.
The Winter Wonderland. Wasteland. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the song. See, I did no research. I did none. I'm just winging this.
It's not even released. There's nothing really out.
I love
that. And it could be Wonderland. It depends on how excited you get about death.
I'm calling
that's true.
From now on.
That's why we need to talk more about Day November. So, that's, or Sunlight August, because I've done so much research into your movie. So, well, let's take a look inside. Did you put anything inside this for me? I'm not sure. Oh, look, there is something in here. So here's the disc. And I remember you mentioning rainbows. So there's the rainbows. And then there's this here. I love that Kanaki lets you do this.
Kanaki is
Tough.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Or is it?
You can order as many as you want, whenever you want. You're in control of the artwork.
Oh yeah.
Factory sealed. You don't have to keep a million of them on hand. You can have a storefront. Like they're huge.
Yeah, their Makeflix, I think, is now another one that does something similar. I've noticed people doing that. I'm still sticking with Kanaki for a little bit at least. But yeah, I mean, it's great. You just put it all together and then you go to their website and you've got your own movie right here. I'm lucky. I'm in Vegas and they're in Reno. So if I order a movie, it takes like 2 days to get to me, 2-3 days at most.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I could drive there in like 4 hours if I wanted to. The one thing that I like with this is and I'm going to bring up me for a second, is this shows what filmmakers can do together. And that's any of these right now, even these next 2 that we'll get to, is if you want to work with somebody, all you got to do is reach out and say, hey, can you just shoot me a scene and then send it to me through like WeTransfer, and you're in the movie. Mm-hmm. To me, that's amazing of how technology works these days. And, and you can work with so many filmmakers now where before you couldn't,
Right.
So I think it's very exciting that we get to do these type of things. So people should take advantage of that. I don't understand why they don't, especially when somebody reaches out and says, hey, I'll work for free and I could shoot my own stuff. And then you never hear back. And you're just like, okay, you just, and that's not me. That's just saying in general for anybody who does that type of thing. So right. Yeah, I think it's really cool. So we have, so we got the Dark October, and now we have, let me make sure I get this title right. Blood in the Dark. There we go.
That's right.
So there we go. So that's what we're here to talk about, but we're going to look at one more movie too. And this I enjoyed my second viewing of it. I enjoyed it the first time and I enjoyed it the second time. So I like the killer, and we're going to get more into this. Okay. I noticed that you like having houses and things on the front of your film. This also has.
I noticed that too, and I don't have one on Winter Wonderland.
No, it's Winter Wasteland. See, you didn't do research either. See,
I don't have one on Winter Wasteland because I look back and I said, how do I have 3 buildings on the last 3 movies? I don't know how that happened.
And that's funny too, because he makes the DVD artwork before he makes the movie.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
I enjoy doing that. I think it's important to do that because it inspires you.
Right.
Well, it's crazy because when he made Blood in the Dark's cover art, we didn't have the scene, which we'll talk about in the street with the light, just like that. It's weird because when you watch it, it's like, whoa, that's like the cover art, and it wasn't even planned that way. But yeah,
I just feel like if I don't, because when I was a kid and I would go rent VHS tapes, I had no preconceived notion of what the film was like. I went strictly by the artwork. I was like, damn, is this makes me want to rent this movie. I would just rent it based just on the cover. So I feel like if I know what the cover looks like, it just gives me a line to follow when we're making the actual film.
Well, I remember back in the day when Battle Beyond the Stars came out, the Roger Corman film. You know, that tells you how old I am. I saw that in the theater. And then I remember as a kid, I walked outside and I looked at the poster and went, well, that ship's not in it. And that alien's not in it. And what's going on here? Why aren't these things in this movie? And then I found out later on, you know, finding out who Roger Corman was, that the posters were made before the movies came out. So a lot of the poster isn't in the movie. He's just notorious for that. So, but I think I like your covers. I think they look good.
Thank you.
You know, oh yeah, sure. Now let's find out what's inside this one. So here we got the cover here. So there's our killer. Oh, there's our killer.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this here? What is that?
The girl at the end of the movie that's sitting at the table, the little girl coloring.
That's right, she's drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she finished it. She finished it after we were done with the scene. She just sat out there and finished it. And I framed it and put it in the horror room on the wall. Oops.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we scanned it. She did. It was her idea. Scanned it and then sent that into Kunaki. So then each person gets the picture that she was drawing at the end.
Yeah, and that's important. People need to make sure that they sit through the credits. So, because there is a little Easter egg at the end here. So, and then the newest one to be released is the first haunted house. Did I get that right?
That is the first haunted house.
Okay, see, I did research on this one. So
the last house ever.
The last house ever. Oh, see, I got it wrong again.
Ever on the right.
So this is the final haunt, and this is another good one. And I like the box on this. And now you're starting to show reviews on some of these too. So that's cool.
That was probably one of the funnest ones we made.
Yeah, I mean, it was you just got to hang out at one of the best haunted houses in the area during peak season, while people just went through and just got to film and hang out.
I think it was voted in the top 10 in the country, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're high up.
And it was funny because the killer from Blood in the Dark that we're going to talk about, he is one of like the main guys at this actual haunted attraction, Houston's Haunted Hollow. And he was our killer in the last movie. So then when it came time for their haunt season in, August, September, October of last year, the killer worked there and they were looking for photographers and videographers. Well, not plural, one photographer, one videographer to do commercials for the haunt and do photo shoots for the haunt. And Scott said, well, get a hold of these guys. So we went out there and actually worked for them. And while we were there, one of the guys in charge said, you guys should just make a horror movie out here. And I was like, oh my gosh, this can't be real. Because to have a haunted attraction just handed to you for free, right, that would let you do anything that you want, wherever, whenever, I never thought that would ever happen. And I've always wanted to make a haunted house scary movie. Nice. And we're making a sequel to that one as well. This.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. So yeah, so this is
big aspirations.
Yeah, that one's going to be titled "This Is Really Actually the Final Haunt."
Wow, that is a long title. So that's
well, this way I won't have to put a house on the front.
There you go. and we goof around and stuff, but the film is called The Final Haunt for people out there. So this is one to check out too. And let's see what's inside this one. So we got so it looks like, so is this an actual advertisement for the haunt, or is this for the movie?
Yeah, I took that photo for them to use. That photo is actually, I think, one of them that they used on their website, but they used that to advertise for their haunt season.
Well, and you do photography.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Let people know about it.
Well, I'm primarily a wedding and couples photographer. That's what I like to really focus on, tell people's love story. I don't like to do the normal pose, look at the camera, smile. I want to do like, I want to tell people's story. Where did you meet? Where's your favorite place to go out? Let's do your engagement photos. You know, my one couple, they were like, well, we really like to go to the drive-in. So I contacted the drive-in that they go to. They let us in early. We took pictures in front of the big screen. They gave us concession snacks and stuff. My cat is trying to jump up. But anyway, that's our Halloween cat. Yeah. But I really try to make it very much authentically whoever I'm shooting. And I would like to really focus on doing elopements, traveling, you know, let's, you know, get married in the mountains of Colorado and fly me out there and hire me as your photographer and let's just have a party, you know? So that's what I really like to do, but I love obviously all the spooky stuff. And whenever we worked out at the Haunted Hollow, I came up with the idea to do a boudoir sessions. So basically I had booked sessions where girls came out and got to do a boudoir in front of the giant haunted house. Doug, the owner, got me a coffin for them to lay in. I hired a girl to do hair and makeup in the hair and makeup room if they wanted to add that on. And that was a big hit. And I'm actually going to probably have to do 2 days this year because it sold out in like 12 hours. And it's just like, what a great backdrop, you know, like how cool for them to just be like, yeah, you want to shoot a movie here? Cool. Do you want to do like a really cool, like Halloween sexy photo shoot thing? Sure. Go right for it. They've just been so awesome
Literally
to us.
a dream come true.
Yeah. And we can't, you know, thank Doug and Mark enough for everything they've allowed us to create out there. We feel like such a part of the family and we're happy to be a part of the family.
Oh yeah, that's very cool. So that's nice. And what's the name of your company?
It's What Mia Saw Photography, and that's all one word. What Mia Saw I have as one word, and then photography. But that's my handle on Instagram, and you can search that on Facebook as well.
Okay, so there's like a Facebook page or a website?
No website. I have a domain name. I've had a domain name for 2 years, but I can't seem to get around to building my website because it's hard.
I don't even know if you would need it because you turn people down as it is.
Yeah, I do a lot on Instagram. That's my main source of contact and posting and, you know.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if I can get a link from it, I'll post it down below so people can go to it. So I like getting links to as many things as I can so people can discover you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Oh yeah, sure. So do you take like a lot of the photos when you guys are filming?
I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
But it's also usually because I'm in the scene and I'm also not a person that like I know my lines, so I'm sitting there looking at my lines 5 minutes before we do the scene, and then I'm trying to watch for continuity things, make sure other people are in, watching, you know, the other actors, making sure that it's hard for him to catch a lot of stuff because he's focused on what does the shot look like, is this hitting at the right time, and if somebody messed something up, he might not catch it. So it's hard for me to do a lot of that stuff. I mean, I'm trying to, now that we're doing more YouTube videos, I'm trying to make behind the scenes stuff, but if I think about it, I get to pull my camera out, I will, but for the most part, it's just me in front of the camera more so than anything.
Well, eventually, as I'm sure you guys will get used to it and kind of have some sort of routine worked out to where you can get something. So yeah. There's always screen grabs and all that stuff. So, and there's probably enough people on set that are taking pictures that, you know, you're not missing a lot.
Right. Yeah, that would be good. If I should just tell people before we shoot, like, hey, heads up, if you're not in the scene, take behind the scenes photos.
Take pictures, take videos, and just send them to us.
Yeah, that stuff's important. Yeah, I always try to do the same thing. So, but okay, so let's get into Blood in the Dark. Let's find out what this whole movie is about. So it is, the film is 1 hour and 18 minutes roughly. And it's came out 2001, came out last year.
Yes. Did you do that?
I think he said, I don't know if he did or not.
What's that?
He said 2001 last year.
Oh, geez. 2021. There we go.
We thought you were messing with us.
No. I even looked down at my note here that says 2021, and for some reason it came out as 2001. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
It is a fantastic movie.
I was secretly promoting Stanley Kubrick. So, you know, that's, you know, trying to put David with Stanley, you know. So
yeah, I wish.
So, hey, I saw on Facebook you were watching The Shining earlier.
We are.
So maybe that's where I got my 2001 from. I was thinking of that. Yeah. So it came out in 2021. There we go.
Yes.
Just last year, because we are now in 2002.
That's right.
Right. Okay, good.
Right.
Just want to make sure I got that right. And so where did you come up with the idea for this? What was the genesis of this film?
Well,
do you remember?
Yeah, I don't want to like take a whole bunch of credit, but I wanted to just do like something that was, I'm super into true crime, but I think I was more into true crime the beginning of last year because I was just listening to a lot of podcasts and I thought, you know, wouldn't it be cool if we made a movie just about like just a random neighborhood killer, you know, make it feel real-ish.
Our Halloween kitty will not stop coming up here, and she's going to knock the computer off.
Really
She's welcome to go, you know, to come on screen. So I like animals more than people. I've said that more than once. So animals are always welcome.
Happy Catterday, right?
That's right. Happy Catterday. So
I always see your posts.
It's very important to give Boris and Natasha their little spotlight. So they like posing for pictures. So I like to entertain them. Well, the one thing I noticed is, and there's even a shot in this, which I'm guessing was intentional, where the killer is standing outside and he's got the bag on the head and you're looking through the window and there's the Town That Dreaded Sundown poster up on the wall.
That actually was not intentional.
Oh.
But the killer is supposed to resemble the Town That Dreaded Sundown. The original, because that's probably my third favorite scary movie of all time.
It's a great film.
It's fantastic. We asked Scott just to kind of work on, you know, a costume for himself and gave him the, you know, the general basis of the type of killer he was playing and this and that. And he came up with that. And we just happened to have, it's right there. We happened to just have that poster up. So that's kind of funny because I never even realized that.
I never did either.
Yeah, I really thought it was intentional, that because it's kind of like an over the shoulder shot, and then there, you know, it's one or two of the girls are on the sofa and then there's the poster. I'm like, I see what they're doing here. But once again, I'm wrong. So, you know, but it's a good shot. I like it. So happy accident.
Happy accident.
Happy accident. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And where, compared to the other films that you've made with these types of killers, where does this kind of what am I trying to say? Where does it kind of seat with the other ones? Like where, because this is, you know, you obviously have, you know, there's the killer there, and then you got your killer here, and then you got your, you know, the ones from like Dark Shade Creek. Like where do these killers kind of sit within your world of filmmaking or killers, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Where do they sit?
Yeah, where are they at? Like where?
What do you mean, where are they at?
I know what he's saying. I get what he's trying to say.
Like, which is our favorite? Or
well, you know, like Wes Craven has Freddy, and then he has, you know, of course he has, you know, Shocker, and then he has Scream. He has all these different killers. So kind of,
okay, where
where would they be in your world? Where would they kind of sit within the films that you're making? Is this like a single world? Are these killers all connected in some sort of way?
I don't think that they would be connected, because the Dark Shade Creeks were rural camping slashers with basically a mindless, you know, an LSD fried old man. Dark October was a demon. Blood in the Dark was this guy which we didn't really even give any explanation as to why he's doing what he's doing.
Mm-mm.
That's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do that because it makes it so much scarier.
It does.
And then he's sort of a, I guess, a ghost demon in the final haunt too.
Yeah.
So this is probably the most realistic killer of them all.
Yeah.
He's just a guy from God knows where doing this for God knows what reason.
Yeah, which is that's what I wanted. I just wanted a faceless guy, and what we put in the trailer, I loved. It says no one is safe when evil has no face, because you don't know who this guy is, and then you watch at the end and you're just like, holy shit, like nobody's ever gonna know who this guy is. That's what I liked.
Yeah, one of my favorite slasher films, and it's from the 80s, is Final Exam. And I know a lot of people, give that film a hard time just calling it a Halloween clone. But I think it's great that we know nothing about this guy. I mean, he just has like blue jeans on, he's got the army coat, and that's about it, and I like that you know absolutely nothing about him at all. I mean, you know less about him than you did Michael Myers in the first movie. At least we knew that he was a kid who killed his babysitter. This guy is just killing college students.
Yeah. Just randomly shows up and murders.
Yeah. So I like that. So if you ever do a sequel or something like that, would you explain more of his, his past, or even a prequel?
I would say out of all of the movies, I don't know why Blood in the Dark would probably be the least likely to have a sequel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like we set out to just kind of make it a standalone. We didn't leave it on a cliffhanger. I don't personally feel inspired to tell any more of that story. In my opinion, it's the best movie he's made. It's the most entertaining. I think it has the best effects. I think I just love it. Like, I could just sit down and be like, wow, this is like really, really, really good for something that's so low budget. And I just don't think it should be toyed with anymore.
Yeah. It was a weird movie to make, because it was pretty much just me and the three girls every weekend, drinking, hanging out, shooting, and then all of a sudden after a couple months we just ended up with a movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the shoots were scheduled and everything. Hey, we need you three to come over, but it was just like four friends hanging out, having sleepovers, and then just magically there was just this movie at the end.
And it was just so much fun. It was also getting dark later in the night, and us being people that don't stay up incredibly late, we couldn't shoot for 8 or 9 hours every single time. So we had a lot of nights to make this movie. So it just ended up being just a every weekend fun hangout. Now all of a sudden we have a movie. It was pretty fun.
How much of it was scripted and how much was ad-libbed?
Probably 95% was scripted, I would say.
Yeah.
So all that stuff with Yumi and the other two girls, like doing the shots and all that was all scripted, or was that just friends kind of hanging out and having fun?
A couple of those were unscripted, yes.
The shot thing wasn't, because that was just something that one of the girls had brought over, because like I said, it was just a hangout session that we just ended up filming for, and she was like, oh, I brought these tonight, and we were like, oh, well, why don't we just add it into the movie? We're doing everything we could at certain points just to try and add a little bit of, I guess, length, but also realness to the movie. And if there wasn't something that we could base, okay, now I have to say this word for word, blah, 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 and it was just go off and talk about something, it felt more real.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the stuff did seem real. It seemed like, that's why I'm asked, was it, scripted or ad-lib, because it seemed like dialogue that people would talk about, if they're making drinks or getting food, or getting pizza from a handsome man with a beard, as you had pointed out, so how much was that real? Was that, like the description of David when he's down there with the pizza, was that like a real description?
That was ad lib. That was a last minute, like, hey, let's put you in as the pizza guy thing.
Yeah, I don't usually, I don't usually I'm not usually in the movies.
I don't really like to be on. I don't like to be filmed. I would much prefer to film. But after a few adult beverages, a little liquid courage, they talked me into it. They're like, "You can be the pizza guy." And I was like, well, "Okay, I guess I'll be the pizza guy." So they set it all up, but we weren't very dependable because it went probably 3 weekends. They ordered this damn pizza, and we never shot the pizza man scene. Every weekend, every time these girls would come over, we would order a pizza and never shoot the scene. And then the next time she was like, "Well, I guess we got to order another pizza."
And then we would film and we wouldn't get to that part. And so that pizza would go to waste. So finally, the third time, we were like, finally, we can film with this freaking pizza.
So it was never like an actual scene that you were going to have like a friend of yours do, and they did a no-show, so David had to come into it. It was just,
I don't think
let's
there
just
was
do
a
this.
pizza man scene.
No, there wasn't,
In the
because we
script.
had to make it so that Kyla ordered and she
Yeah.
said the thing, and that, she was telling me that she got him to deliver. We had to make all of that up on the fly and incorporate it into what was scripted.
Because that's a kind of a standard for slasher films, like Slumber Party Massacre, Drew Marvick, even with his Pool Party Massacre. It seems to kind of be like a slasher trope to have the pizza guy is kind of like the main guy that shows up. Maybe Chinese food from time to time, but I think it's mostly pizzas.
Stephen King was the pizza guy in Rose Red.
Oh, really? I love Stephen King, but I haven't seen Rose Red in years. So
Oh yeah, it was one of my favorites when I was a kid, and I didn't know till I was older that was him making his little cameo.
yeah, he likes to do his little Stephen King cameos, his little Hitchcock cameos, which I always
Yep.
like. So yeah, I just picked up Bag of Bones, so I just got that. So yeah, we're going to be myself and Jonathan Moody with Indie Film Cafe. We're going to start a monthly. It will be one episode, and it will just be reviewing Stephen King movies. So
Cool.
That's awesome.
yeah, Jonathan really hasn't read anything from Stephen King. I have, so we're just going to stick with movies, and then I can compare them to the books that I've read. So, because I'm a little bit of a purist when it comes to Stephen King, but I accept the movies for what they are. So, even though the kid should have died at the end of Cujo, so that's okay. It's all right. He died in the book. So what was your pre-production like?
Him sitting at a computer typing the script, and me finding people to be in it, which wasn't hard because it was basically the same people in the movie before. And just that was the one movie we actually sat down and had like a cast meeting and set dates to film.
We
did that at Ruby Tuesdays, yeah.
We did. We had a cast meeting at Ruby Tuesdays. I remember that now.
Because it was our first movie with Scott, and we were, trying to be, formal and say, hey, let's meet up, let's talk, what's your ideas?
As formal and thorough and as firm as you can be when no one's getting paid.
Right.
Okay.
Because they have to understand that everyone in the film is depending on them. And then everyone else is depending on someone else because their time is important as the next person. And if one person doesn't come, then the whole shoot is screwed.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I have found with talking with different filmmakers, and especially when people are getting, paid very little or nothing at all, maybe gas, is they don't take things seriously when they should be. If you dedicate yourself to something like this, you shouldn't just flake and then 1 hour before you're supposed to be on set say, I'm sorry, I'm going to go see a movie instead,
Mhm.
and then you just don't work with that person again. So that's,
Right.
because where they stand on stuff. So now, Mia, you said that you think this is his best film. Do you think it's his best film because of having like production meeting and other stuff like that?
I wouldn't say so. I think just because of the way that the film is paced, we kind of cut back and forth a lot of times. he had his time was able to be freed up a little bit more to focus on the movie. And I think that excitement, I don't know, I don't want to say it's like lightning in a bottle, but it's just one of those things where everything fell into place. Everything flows nicely in the movie, the way that we shot everything, it just all seemed to just kind of lay out perfectly. And I just think when you watch it, I just feel like it's the one that feels the most like it had some sort of a budget, I guess. And I don't know, I love it.
Well, that's just how the movie comes across for you.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
at this point, so this is let's just say you stopped making films, like Winter Wasteland is your last movie. Do you think this is the film that will be remembered? Like they'll go, oh yeah, we know David, we made that, we like that one movie, like kind of like it's at the preface of your career.
I think next to Blood in the Dark, Dark Shade Creek is for sure it. Honestly, Dark Shade Creek might be more watchable than Blood in the Dark, even because it's just, you just get hooked in. You're like, who are these people? The backstory is good. So I don't know, maybe Dark Shade Creek is your best movie, but I love Blood in the Dark. Obviously, I'm in it, and I got to be a part of that movie. But I think if he were to be remembered for anything, it would definitely be Dark Shade Creek.
Okay, all right. Well, it's a good film, so yeah. So of course. And then during production, so you said that you were like shooting on the weekends?
Yeah.
So what was that like? Were you shooting in, because your house is obviously in the film? How was that like, shooting with? Do you find that to be a distraction at all? You're shooting at your own house, you got movie posters around, you got movies. Is that a distraction at all, or do you just feel comfortable?
I mean, I was worried. I'm worried about, I don't know who the hell would ever sue us for something like that because I don't believe you're supposed to have that stuff in the movies.
Yeah, technically, yeah, Well,
I
I
mean,
think there's a time limit. There's like, if it's only on the screen for a few seconds, then it's fine.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, and plus, I think with the caliber of films that we make, I don't think somebody like Warner Brothers or somebody would be upset. So I'm not saying it's bad, that they're bad movies, but I don't think that they're on, their radar. Yeah. So.
Right. And if they would sue me, I mean, I guess any publicity is good publicity.
Right. Yeah, because I always found it kind of weird that I've seen independent films, like micro budget movies, that are shot in a house that is obviously the director's like apartment or house or whatever it is, because there's movie posters everywhere, there's movies everywhere, there's games everywhere. But yet, and I'm not saying that women don't enjoy these things, but it seemed like, okay, she doesn't live there. That's the director's house, and he's shooting there because it's free and it's his house. I don't believe that she lives there at all. Right. So it's. Do you feel that way at all when you see types of movies like that?
I guess I feel like it would look like you lived here.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen enough micro budget movies to have seen something like that. So,
did you think that did the house looked as though she lived here? Did you buy it?
I would say yes, because it doesn't look totally like a guy lives there. It doesn't. It does have it does have like a feminine touch to it. That there's more than just movie posters. You guys actually have up things that adults would have. It's not just, if that kind of makes sense. It doesn't. Yeah. So I could buy it. And plus, Mia talks about movies and watching horror films and all that. So I could believe that. Sure. Yeah.
Well,
but I guess
it was exactly how I wanted it at the time. So
yeah, I like the way your guy's, place looks. If it still looks the same in the movie, I was digging it. I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. It just doesn't look like a bachelor guy lives there. It doesn't look like my apartment, which does look like a bachelor guy lives there. So, there's no no touch of a woman in there at all. Oh, that sounds bad. That didn't come out right. But so I don't know. No research on myself, I guess. And then what about post-production? What was that like?
I was just gonna say,
Why? What was it? Was it bad?
no, it was just waiting on our test DVD from Kunaki to make sure everything worked and lined up, right?
Yeah, for some reason, you'll have to excuse me. I'm getting over a cough, and I just can't shake the cloggy throat. We did have. I'm getting more into a groove now, but for some reason, I could never ever remember what the hell files I would send into Kunaki to get the DVDs made. Sometimes I would do MP4, sometimes I would do MPEG, sometimes I would, and it all depended on the like the aspect ratio and this and that. And I think I sent something and then I tried to upload a different file. It was the hardest one, and I don't know why. And then finally she was like, why don't you just write down what you send so you know every time? But I've done it so often now that now I remember, but then I did not.
Yeah.
Did it take you a long time to get that first DVD, kind of like your test one? It took them forever. I think it took them like 4 months. Like it went clear across country. I was watching it and it's like, why is this thing in New York? I don't understand that. I live like 4 hours from you. What's going on here?
Oh, so you had that problem when you ordered from them?
Yeah, when I did Meat Oak Massacre 4, and they said, "Oh,
Right.
your first copy is free," and I'm like, "Oh, sweet." And so I sent them everything, and then next thing I know, I'm like tracking it, and it's like, "Why is this thing in Florida? Why is this thing?" It's like, what's happening here? And then I bought one for myself, and oddly, both of them showed up on the same day. So it's like, I had a little distrust with Kanaki with that for a while. Well, they even screwed up the one of the Aximus ones. They put some seminar on it. I got a whole box of Aximus and I popped it in to make sure it looked okay. And all of a sudden it's like, it's actually a guy telling you how to buy a boat. Yeah. Every single one.
Wow.
And I contacted them and they got it out to me immediately. So that was good.
That's kind of hilarious though.
Like, all right, let's see some Killer Santa. And then all of a sudden it's a guy next to a board going, and you use the affiliated number to get the gross interest of your boat, which you will be purchasing in 6 months. If you fall, it's like, what the hell is this?
That's the ultimate troll. You should just, anytime somebody pisses you off, you just give that to them as a gift.
Oh, that's funny. Yes. So I threw them all away. I kept the boxes, but I tossed all the DVDs. I know.
Oh, I would have loved to have one. I think that's hilarious.
We never had any trouble with the product. I just had trouble getting them the right stuff.
Yeah, and making sure, like, I think one time we got the first one, we got the audio didn't match up with the words, I think.
Yes, that was because I tried to send them an ISO file, and for some reason it didn't work.
Yeah.
If I just hard upload an MPEG, it seems to work the best. And sometimes when you get it, the artwork comes back darker than it looks, or when you send it. Sometimes the insert's darker. Just all those things, and you have to make sure you get them looking the proper way before you set it up your storefront, because you don't want people ordering a shit DVD.
Right.
So
yeah, I had that with Todd with Aximus 1 and 2, that what I sent him for the covers was brighter, and then I noticed, I said, no, this is dark, you can barely see it. And he's like, well, that's what I send to the people to make the DVDs, is what you send to me. And I'm like, well, okay, well then they're doing something. Why is this dark? You can't see the back. Like, I wouldn't buy this,
Right.
So that was, my experience with that. So,
and then she keeps me calm. I right away go off the handle. I'm like, oh my God, we got to redo this shit, because I'm impatient. I want to get it. I want it done when there's a project that needs done, and I'm sure it comes in handy, because it just comes in handy making films, because it's a big project to take on an entire film basically by yourself.
Right.
So it definitely helps in that aspect. But when it comes to little things like that, she has to be like, whoa, just calm down.
We'll brighten it up. We'll send it in. We'll get another one in the mail. She has to sort of talk me
I have
down.
to tell him, I said, listen, these big giant budget movies that are out in the theaters, their DVDs aren't hitting the shelves till 3 or 4 months after they come out, you know, in the theater. So why do we need to have ours out 2 weeks after we get done filming? It doesn't need to be like.
Well, yeah, and we don't have deadlines. I mean, there isn't something where they're saying that, you know, Dark October has to come out in September 25th. You know, it has to. You decide when it comes out, you know.
Right.
Well, thank goodness it came out in
She
October.
she reminds me about that every time.
Yeah, it's a so is Kanaki the number one place where you could get all your films? Like, where can you now get like Dark Shade Creek 1 and 2?
Well, Dark Shade Creek 1 is the only one of all of my movies that are on YouTube. And it did well, surprisingly. We made it, and in 2012, I had no leads, no clue on anything. I had never done this before in my life. Like I said, it was just something we did to pass the summer. And I remember, because I worked for the bookmobile, I remember going in after hours after we would get back, and I would go into the library and I would print out, you know, because I had a small local following that thought it was cool that I made a movie and stuff like that. And I remember going in and printing out the artwork at the library because my boss didn't charge me for the ink. And I would sit at the table and cut them out with scissors, and I would order bulk DVD cases from some seller on eBay, and I would sit there and slide the artwork down in, and then I would rip the movie and then burn it onto the DVD. And then I had like the imaging thing that would burn like a black and white image to the disc, and I would like burn that into the disc, and I would hand deliver these DVDs to people. I had no clue what I was doing. And then, so I uploaded it to YouTube, and I was like, well, we'll probably do pretty good. You know, if we could get up to 1,000, or, you know, if it goes viral and hits 5,000 hits, you know, look out. And then just the other day we looked, and somehow it's still averaging like 1,000 to 3,000 views a day. And we're almost at 16 million hits.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, people are commenting on it from all over the world. You know, because a lot of them you have to hit the C translation because I can't even understand what they're saying. But, and you know, you get some trolls and stuff, and but a majority of it is positive. And I think they understood too, because I explained in the comments, you know, it was a $500 budget, filmed on my mom's camera. It wasn't meant to be a blockbuster, you know, but I think it resonated pretty good with people, and I think a lot of people really enjoy it. But other than YouTube, I'm getting off track. Dark Shade Creek 1 is on Kunaki, 1 is on YouTube. Dark Shade Creek 2 and 3 are on Amazon Prime and on my Kunaki storefront. Dark October is on Amazon Prime and my storefront. And then Blood in the Dark and The Final Haunt are just on the storefront.
So you can buy every single movie that he has made on Kunaki, and you can stream all of his movies except for the last 2, soon to be last 3.
Yes.
Okay. What about Tubi? Have you thought of Tubi?
I've never dealt or done anything with Tubi, but I think I should if you're recommending it.
Access 1 and 2 are on it. I've heard you make money off of it. I have not seen a dime, but I have a distributor which is Todd, and I'm guessing that he knows, you know, that he goes through a company that got it onto Tubi, and he probably sees that money and I don't. But it's nice having it on there because it's kind of grouped in, you know, with a bunch of other films, so you can, you know, recommend it, and then, you know, people can look at other people's films too. I love Tubi. I think it's really good, but I think that you have to have like a distributor that knows how to get it on there, because I can't figure it out by myself. So
I think those are called a content aggregator, I believe.
okay.
I think that's what you need to get them onto sites like that.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's one that I'm blanking on the name of it, but there is one out there where you can send them your film and they'll spread it out like through everywhere. But and I think they take a small percentage, but I think it's worth it. I mean, it's nice to have
For
people
sure.
look at your stuff. I mean, they take short films. I mean, Axmis stuff is only 30 minutes. I mean, and you have feature films. So I think that they would definitely put them on. Just another way of getting it out there, because eventually like
Right.
YouTube and stuff steals them. I mean, I could type in Axmis and I see like there's all those like movie channels that, you know, that I don't know, around the world that are playing it. And it's like, I had no idea. So eventually your stuff will probably just kind of filter out and, you know, get picked up by other people that you don't even know about.
Right. Right.
Sheesh.
Well, I think one of my friends from the UK sent me something. They have like some kind of streaming service over there, and they were like, "Do you know Dark Shade Creek's on this streaming service in the UK?" And I was like, "No."
Whenever we made Dark October, I sent my friend in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh a copy, and they were looking up, they pirate movies and stuff. They were looking up Dark October and saw that somebody had already tried to pirate it already.
Oh.
History. I was like, look, people are already trying to steal
I
the
said,
movie.
let them pirate it. I could care less. If it's more people that'll
See, they must like it if they're going to pirate it. So that's,
Right.
you know, good for them. You know, so, okay. So then I'll get those links down there so then people can definitely check out like Kanaki and things like that.
Sure, yeah, we can send them to you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll put those down there. More about the film, about the movie that we're here to talk about. The one thing that I found funny is at the very beginning is we get Oliver panting a lot. And I forgot when I was watching it the second time, like, what is all that panting? Who's panting? Is the girl panting? And it's like, oh, there's the dog. So it's why a lot of panting from Oliver?
Anxiety.
He's very anxious. He's a poor soul, but I think also too, he was in a new car, which they don't go on RIDEs very much. And we were all, you know, hanging out, and he was just on top of being nervous, oh boy, what's happening? He was also like, I'm so excited at the same time.
Yeah, it cracked me up. And also the so I don't know a lot of the people's names, but the girl that's with Oliver, the actress that's with him, she does mention that she wants to see Dark October. So within your guys' movies, your movies exist.
Yes, we do try to do that. We try to always incorporate, if we don't incorporate necessarily locations, we try to incorporate the movies, because at some point or another, somebody's always going to be watching a movie in one of our films. So why not make it one of ours? And she totally ad-libbed that, because she was in Dark October. Her name's Amelia. And so that entire thing where she's talking to her boyfriend on the phone, that was all one take. That was her first take, and that was just what she came up with on the fly. And so it was just kind of funny. We're sitting back watching it, and then she brings up Dark October, and we're like, oh, that was cute, you know. But we didn't tell her to say that.
Well, and you bring up that you want to watch, you know, Dark Shade Creek.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about Blood in the Dark that people might not catch if they're not paying attention is the scene in Dark Shade Creek where his brother and wife, Josh and Vanessa, are kind of sort of bickering in the woods. And I'm trying to wait for Kyla to come out of the bathroom, and she's not answering me. And in the movie, you know, Josh says, I've had enough. And she goes, I've had enough. So then I'm watching the movie and I've had enough. And I get up and check out what's going on. And so whenever his brother watched it, he was like, oh, that was kind of cool. And I just thought, yeah, that was me just ad-libbing, winging it, you know, playing off of what was happening in the scene. But
And so because Blood in the Dark, you said, is the one that probably won't like have like a sequel or anything like that, you can incorporate your own movies into it, because it would be kind of strange all of a sudden if you're watching the movie of Dark Shade Creek or Dark October, and then all of a sudden there's the character
Right.
from one of the films.
Right.
So would you do that in other movies, or are you a little more kind of aware that, oh no, if we watch this movie on TV, then that just makes it a movie. We can't incorporate that character into the film.
I think we always try to make sure that whatever movie we're putting,
All I have to say is, and she's like, I'll take this one.
whatever movie we're playing, nobody's been in that movie, or maybe they're not in that scene,
Yeah.
so that they don't, kind of coexist in the same universe. Now, when we did Dark October, the waitress tells us to stay away from this one road because it'll take us right towards Dark Shade Creek, and we don't want to go anywhere near there. So that's kind of cool, because we are living in the same area as Dark Shade Creek, but it's a totally different movie separate from them. So that's kind of cool. But for the most part, I think too, in the future, we want to maybe try to create some sort of Dark Shade universe. But for right now, it's just kind of the movies exist in one another.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. I completely failed at it with Meat Hook 4, because in Meat Hook 4 is the lead actress, Mindy, she gets a phone call from her dad who says, oh, I found a place to store your furniture, which would be Chapman Storage, and Chapman Storage is in Axmis. Well, stupidly, I put a coffee mug that says Chapman Storage on their coffee table. Well, she would already know about Chapman Storage because the coffee mug is there. Why is she surprised that her dad is saying it? And then later in the film, when they're at this gas station, there's a poster for Axmis. So are they in the world of Axmis? Are they not in the world of Axmis? Because there's a poster. And it's like, I failed. I just failed. And it's like, I'm just.
What? For as much as you guys are supposed to keep straight making these movies, it doesn't matter.
Warner Brothers won't care. They're going to be like, oh, look, he screwed up his whole universe. Now we can't have him do something. Right. So it's, yeah. So, and I got, let's see what it's, we got. Okay. And so the girl, she gets hit in the head with like a baseball bat with the barbed wire wrapped on it. And the poor Oliver is left there. I felt sorry for him. So I'm glad that he was eventually found.
You rescued him.
I rescued that poor boy. Yeah. That was just the easiest way we could kill her without
Yeah, she didn't have a lot of time, and she didn't want a large part. And then sometimes I think in my head, okay, let's start out with easy kills, but I think that I should probably start out with a more aggressive kill sometime to sort of attract more attention instead of more tame kills. But it's just how it went.
Where did these bodies go? If I remember correctly, we don't find out, do we?
The Easter egg gives you a little bit of an idea.
Probably in the house at the end.
I guess who knows?
In the basement or something like that.
He could be doing anything with that.
We had talked about making the Easter egg be all of us laying in the back of a van and him taking us somewhere, and me waking up in the back of the van freaking out. And that was possibly going to be the Easter egg, but we didn't end up going with it. But that was the one thing that we also didn't want to allude to, because it makes it all the more mysterious. But then if you watch through the credits, he's, dissecting an eye from a body in his workshop.
Right.
So clearly he's keeping them and he's doing things to them, but you aren't going to ever know.
Spoiler.
Well, we're talking about the entire movie. The whole thing's a spoiler. You don't watch reviews unless you've already seen the movie, unless you want to know. But anyway, but I think that's what is kind of like scary about it, because it's like, okay, he's clearly keeping them and he's doing things to them. And what is he doing after he's done with them? Is he ever done with them? Does he, oh, and now I need a hand. What is there a bigger project he's working on? I love when the filmmaker lets you create the scenario in your brain, because then nobody's ever wrong. And it also drives me nuts. I want to know what the director was thinking, because they never give you like, here's the exact answer. They say, here's what you need to figure out. And I always go, well, what's the director's way of figuring it out? Like, what do they take from it? So I love that. Kind of drives me nuts, but I love it all at the same time. So that's what I wanted to do, I guess, with that Easter egg, is make you keep wondering.
Yeah, because the eye is pretty violent, but then there's also the face that he, that he removes. Yeah.
Yeah, my face comes off. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So what is he doing with these things? Because he's just not simply killing people, but it looks like he's removing pieces.
That's what I mean, is like, does he just do it for pure enjoyment? Is he doing something like Jeffrey Dahmer and creating some giant altar, or like Buffalo Bill with making a suit? What is he doing?
Is he using them for sex?
Yeah.
Like, he could be doing anything.
Is he selling things on the black market? It's crazy, because we don't really have an answer, because we didn't know. But I like that, because you can kind of, well, I want him to do this, so there's nothing in the movie that says that he can't be doing this for this reason, so that's why I'm going to do it. And also too, it makes people maybe want to go back and rewatch it to see if there's anything they missed, for any hints as to why, which there's not, but still fun to, you can interpret it in whatever way you want to.
Do you feel that it's important that what he's doing, even though there's not going to be a sequel or anything to this, that in your head while you're writing it or on set, that, oh, he's taking these bodies and doing these things with them? Or is it just,
I don't know what he's doing with them. I never ever thought about what he was doing.
No, me either. I don't think you need to know. I think if we had a purpose and had that, we would show it and we would explain it. But we never did, because again, going back, the mystery of it is what makes it all the more terrifying. And that's what I really wanted to happen. And the end goal, whenever you watch this movie, is to just basically go, wow, I just watched all this horrific shit, and we have absolutely no idea. We still have no answers. We're back to where we started. We don't know anything more than what we know from the beginning of the movie. And I think that sticks with you, makes you wonder all the time.
right? Yeah, no, I agree. Did the actor playing the killer, did he kind of create a background for the character at all, or did he just blank slate?
Yeah, he just sort of did what I told him.
Yeah, if he did, he didn't tell us, if he had any backstory or anything to pull from when he played the character. But yeah, he just basically did whatever you needed him to do.
Yeah, there's one shot in there that I love, which is with him standing in the street near the end. I thought looked really good. I like that you left the house and went out into the street. And if I had to say anything, I wish that there was more in the street, because it's just a totally different location. And I would like to have maybe seen a little more on the street. But what you have there, I really like. I like that he was standing at the end, and you think that, oh, is this a joke? And so it's a good shot. It's I think it adds something to it, that it breaks up the house to the street, back to the house again.
Right.
So you're just not kind of claustrophobic inside this one location.
Yeah, it gives you just enough time to breathe before you're back to be,
Exactly.
Now I'm forced to be back in this house again.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back a little bit to the beginning again. I found it funny that Mia, when you go out jogging, you're in Vans sneakers. Are those normal jogging shoes?
I don't jog. It was either that or Doc Martens or leopard boots. So I figured those are probably the safest bet.
Closest thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And now, what is the whole thing with the tattoo shop? Because we spend a lot of time there with two of the characters, and we kind of see this tattoo being created. What was happening with that?
There really wasn't any significance to the tattoo, but the tattoo artist is the guy that does all our tattoos, and I've known him my entire life. We went to school, our whole school career, we were together. And he had gotten all my previous movies, and we always talk. Every time I'm over there getting tattooed, we're always like, oh yeah, you should be in one. You should be in one. Yeah, I'll be in one. And it's just like anything else. It's just, you just jibber jabber, and then nothing ever happens. And I finally was like, look, man, you got to be in this movie. He's like, yeah, for sure. And I'm like, no, we really got to do it. And he let us use his shop, and I was like,
I try to write parts for people how they are in real life. I try. So I just figured I'd write him as a tattoo artist and get the girl a tattoo, and it would be a cool scene.
Yeah, we really try to utilize what we actually have in our normal daily lives as much as possible to make it authentic, but also comfortable and easily accessible. So
Yeah, I don't sit down and write a script and then say, okay, how the hell are we going to do this? We think about what we can do, and then I write the script around that.
yeah, just like, okay, we go get our tattoos every so often. We'll just give Brittany one of our appointments and we'll film the day that we already have an appointment scheduled. So we try to make it convenient.
We have friends that can come sleep over. We have access to a haunted house. And we just go with that. That pretty much starts the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good way to, you write what you know, you write what you have. And yeah, sometimes you do have to go, how are we going to do this? But if you have those locations that are available, then you definitely have to take advantage of it. So it's just kind of writing a scene. How long was that? Did you actually spend there? Because she enters with no tattoo and leaves with a tattoo. How long was that?
An hour.
An hour.
Maybe an hour. He's really fast. He's been tattooing for 25 plus years.
Did the actress pick the tattoo, or was that one that?
Yeah, we gave her a heads up. We said, hey, we're going to film a scene at the tattoo shop where your character gets a tattoo. So pick out something, a reasonable size, whatever. She actually had sent me one. And it was quite bigger, I think. And I was like, ooh, bro, we only have like an hour appointment. I don't think that's going to work. So then she found something else. She's like, would this work? I said, yeah, that would work for sure. And so, yeah.
Well, and a feather you don't have to worry about, because it's not like you're getting R2D2 or something tattooed. You don't have to worry about the copyrights. It's just a feather.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And it looked good because you did a close up on it, and it was actually a good looking tattoo. So that's why I was wondering, like, oh, how long did that take? Did you spend the whole day there? Or I have no tattoos, so I have no idea how tattoos work.
Yeah, he's really good. And we did pay for it. I mean, it was put in part of the budget and stuff. So we didn't say, hey, we're filming a scene where you get a tattoo. You have to now come up with money to pay for a tattoo. We paid for it, because it was one of our appointments anyway. If she wouldn't have got it, one of us would have paid for one for us anyway. So it worked out well.
That's good. Okay. So this is good because I was about to bring up locations. And so you kind of took care of that. So I have next to that music. So you have a lot of music in this. How did you decide what music to put in? How did you get the bands to give you the music? What was going on with that?
It's pretty much all just one band. It's actually the Killer. He has a band called Arctic Wolf. And we talked about that when we first met him. And he was like, well, we don't have a problem with you using our stuff. So he just got me one of their CDs, and I ripped it, and I just use it all the time. I've used them in every movie since. I play them in background in my YouTube videos too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. That's nice to have. So that's so you don't have to go out. I mean, do you go out and look for other bands or anything, or is Arctic Wolf pretty much?
We haven't right now. We sort of just meet people. We just let people come to us, or us come to people, just however the universe plays it. If we met this person, and then they introduced us to Scott, and then Scott was the Killer and introduced us to the haunted house, and then the haunted house people introduced us to the news people who had cameos in Final Haunt. It's just sort of
we've been very
snowball
lucky
effect.
to just be able to take advantage of the opportunities that have just been thrown our way and use them to the best of our ability and say, well, he has a band, why not use his music, because otherwise we'd just be using royalty-free stuff on YouTube. And that's another thing that I love about this movie, is it just feels so grungy because their music just sounds like some 80s punk band. I love it so much, and it just adds that. It's like a character in itself. Like, I feel we're in this house a lot. The house feels like a character. The music coming basically all from his band, all from the same CD, also feels like a character, and it helps create that unity within the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the music, and you brought up, music on YouTube. Is there any like royalty-free music in this? I mean, how do you feel about that, about grabbing like royalty-free music?
I don't have a problem using royalty-free music. Sometimes it can be hard to find good stuff. I don't put the movies on YouTube anymore because even if you find something on YouTube that's royalty-free, a lot of times, you'll have 10 accounts that have downloaded the same song, and half of them have it in the copyright mixer thing. So as soon as you post it, there's a copyright flag, even though it's copyright free. So I just don't even dick around with it anymore. I just pretty much try to use Scott's music all the time. Now, a sound effect or something like that, that's a different story, and that doesn't get picked up. A knife slash or a thunder crack or something like that. But if you're going for a whole song, it can get pretty shitty.
Yeah, I found on I just put up a short found footage film that I did called If I Can't Have You, and I could swear the song was copyright free. I mean, that's what I was looking for, were kind of songs about obsession or things like that. I could swear the song said that, and I even put it in the credits that it was royalty free. And boom, YouTube got me with a copyright claim. But because I don't make money off of it, they were okay with it. So it's like, okay. But they got me for nudity and like took down my entire channel because of it. So it's like, okay, well, I guess violence is okay and swearing is okay and all that. But if you show a boob, you're going to be taken down instantly. So I was like, okay, whatever, YouTube. So yeah, it's best just not to deal with YouTube. But,
Right.
what are you going to do? The one scene that I really like, one kill that I'm a big fan of, is when the killer grabs the girl with the sheets. And then he wraps her kind of in it. And then she spits the blood into the sheets. And that looked really good as the blood kind of went around and kind of dripped down. And so talk to me a little bit about that, because that's one of my favorite scenes in the film.
That is my favorite kill he has ever done.
Oh, good. Oh, ever done. Okay.
Ever. That's my favorite. That whole scene, all of it. Also though too, I'm one of those people where like sheets over the face, like Bob the Ghost or anything like that, it scares me. So I think maybe that adds to it, but it's so good. I don't know, how do I come up with that?
I want to say maybe Scott came up with it, but then again, maybe Liv said something because she knew there was a clothesline there.
Oh yeah, maybe.
There was some drinking taking place during this movie. This movie was definitely a drinking movie.
Drinking or not, it's hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep
but
track
she was home alone that day, and she was like, come up, I'll get a bath and we'll go outside. There's an old barn out there. And it was either her or Scott, because somebody brought the sheets. We stopped and we went to Goodwill.
We went to Goodwill and bought the sheets.
Yeah, and I mixed up the blood, and then we practiced probably 10 or 15 times, her backing up to the clothesline and then him popping up, and how he was going to grab her and hold her where it looked the most realistic, and she still felt, relatively comfortable.
Him dropping her took the most amount of takes. He and her had a hard time linking up to, I guess he was afraid to hurt her and she wouldn't drop right. It was like, okay, well, that didn't look right. That didn't look right. That didn't look real. That took the most amount of time. But I remember whenever she put the blood in her mouth, you were like, you've got one take. We don't have another sheet. We only had the one sheet. So you got to make it good.
And when she did that second cough, I thought she was like drowning on the blood because it sounded so horrific. But she kept it going, man. She was a trooper.
Yeah, it was good. Of course, it has to be a white sheet. You got to have that because that's a must. So she's going to spit out blood. So yeah, I really enjoy that scene. And You also got some good shots of trains. So you got some like good, like B-roll footage of like trains going by and some other stuff. Now, is that your footage? Is that from like the area that you're in?
No, the trains were just like you said, they were just like a stock footage thing. And then I just cut a couple snippets of the trains in.
However, we do live right next to train tracks.
Yeah, we do live now next to
I
train
don't
tracks.
know if you hear a train at all in the background because trains come by all the time. But when we were coming up with his backstory on the fly for the pizza guy, when she says it was rumored he buried her body by the train tracks, I'm like those train tracks because it makes sense.
And then I was like, hell, now I got to put trains in the damn movie.
Thanks.
So I just used that as sort of fluff in between the scenes.
Okay. And I do like, as we brought up posters and stuff like that earlier, I do like that, like the Jaws 2 and The Town That Dreaded Sundown, you have House on Haunted Hill. Why these type of posters? Why do you have a Jaws poster or just a Jaws 2?
I don't have a Jaws 1, just Jaws 2.
Do you like Jaws 2 better than Jaws?
No, Jaws 1 is my favorite Jaws. I think it was just the style of the poster. I had ordered them from different places before I had sold my previous house and moved here. And at the time I wasn't technically single, but I didn't have it. I wasn't living with anyone. And I was just trying to pick the coolest looking posters for some of my favorite movies. And I couldn't even remember the full complete layout of this house. I know that's sad, but it was just like a gigantic blur, the divorce and then having to buy another place on my own. And I literally saw this place one time and I told my realtor, I said, I guess I'll get it. I don't know what else to do. So I sort of just went through the steps. And I'm like, I guess I don't even know how many posters I need. I'm just going to order maybe like 8 of them but that's just what I picked at the time. I love all the movies of the posters, obviously, but it's just what I picked at the time. And Jaws 2 is definitely a weird one. Like House on Haunted Hill, Donnie Darko, Town Dreaded Sundown, My Bloody Valentine. I've seen that shit 3,000 times. Jaws 2, on the other hand, is a good film, but I don't know why. I think it was just the way the picture looked that I ordered it.
It's a good sequel. I mean, it's one of the best sequels to, a big budget movie. So
For sure.
it's a good poster. I just thought it was interesting that I mean, yeah, most people would have Jaws. I guess it'd be even stranger if you had Jaws 3D. So,
Right.
but
I
don't know.
Is that the SeaWorld one?
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
That's okay. That's got some moments in it. So it's got a good writer on it. Richard Matheson wrote the screenplay on that. So it's Gorgo. If you've ever seen the movie Gorgo, it's very similar to that. So my favorite of all the sequels is Jaws: The Revenge. So it's so horrible.
Jaws: The Revenge. She's not seen
That's
it
the
yet.
only one I haven't seen.
Oh,
So
the
we're gonna
shark
get to it.
roars, and you can actually see it on the track moving. And you could see the line where they put the two pieces together to make the shark. I mean, it's amazing, and yeah, you got to see it. I mean, it will change your life. Trust me.
She'll see it for sure because I love it.
It's got a great director who, I guess at that time in his career, was just garbage. But he Joseph Sargent, who did like the original Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which is great. And one time in the 70s, he was a really good director, but not so much now. So, but watch it. It's a great film. So. Now the funny thing is that you mentioned the train tracks and stuff. So Mia's character likes bad boys, and apparently she likes bad boys that possibly kill people and leave them by the railroad tracks. What does that say about your character?
I think I try to be just like kind of a relaxed, go with the flow, chill. Like they kind of bicker and I'm like, oh, you guys are always fighting. And then we talk about, did you hear that on the news? And I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't really pay attention to the news. I'm just kind of like watching scary movies in my own world. And so I think with that, I kind of elude that I take everything with a grain of salt. And so when they're talking about his past, I'm kind of like, yeah, but you know, is that really true? It's probably just a rumor, blah, blah, blah. And that's just kind of my nonchalant, well, I think he's hot and I'll be the one to decide if he's really murdered somebody or not, you know? I guess
Until you get murdered.
Yeah, I do. And that's another thing that I thought, I was like, maybe they'll think that he's the killer, but then their tattoos don't match up. So, but that was kind of cool how we incorporated him in last minute. And then I thought, oh, well, this is kind of cool because it's kind of like, oh, is he the killer? Is he the one? Is now that he's delivered pizza to us, he's going to show up? But their tattoos don't match up, so that you clearly know
that would have been interesting. Make him a red herring because he doesn't get killed. You know, the killer doesn't kill him. So, yeah, that would have been interesting. So, yeah, and that pizza looked good.
It was good.
I was hungry after that.
Yeah, it was really good. They make good pizza. Roundhouse Pizza.
I'll have to order from them one day. So it will take a while to get to me, but you know, it might be worth it. So, and then I've noticed, of course, that your guys' place has, lots of movies, you're eating popcorn. I did notice some Playboys that were there, animals roaming around, that you have a little bit of a zoo. And so I guess you're animal people. So I really like that. And I liked how the animals, now were the animals put into the film on purpose, or did they just like the one cat happens to jump up on the chair that you're sitting in? So is it just happy accidents with the animals?
Yeah, she just happened to be there. Just like Alaska laying on the back of the chair. That Alaska's like she's my sweet angel baby, I call her. So I was like, you know what, we're filming the scene. I'm selfieing with her, just start rolling and we'll just incorporate it in. Knox happened to jump up on the chair. I kept going with my lines and just petting her, and then she walked away. And yeah, it is a zoo in here. And I think it'd be harder if we tried to control them than if we just let them do their own thing.
Oh no, they have to do their own thing. My two cats own my apartment, so it's all cat toys and all that type of stuff. So yeah, no, they rule the apartment or the house. That's just what animals do. They take over. So, which is fine by me. I mean, I appreciate it. So, yeah. I also like the POV of the killer walking, just like kind of like on the streets. I thought that worked. I like that a lot. Very traditional, of course. So you got to have the POV of the killer. I also like, there's the school. I want to bring up, it looks like maybe a school that had like a basketball court in it.
Yeah, that's actually the community center in the town where I grew up. They have a thing there called the Maple Festival, and that's actually where the Lions Club serves pancakes and sausage. Is in that gigantic gym.
That's where we filmed Dark October.
And the whole that's the same gym from Dark October as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's that's what kind of reminded me of Final Exam, is because that near the end of the movie they're in like a basketball area, like an indoor basketball area. And I go, oh, that reminds me of this. So it's that scene kind of stood out to me. So I like that with him going through there. He kills the janitor. What did the janitor do? Janitor didn't do anything. He was just doing his job, just being a janitor.
Janitor just wanted to be in the movie.
The character or the actor?
The actor.
Well, it's funny. You said character. He said actor. So
yeah, that's what he. Well,
the actor wanted to.
Yeah, the actor wanted to be in the movie, so he's one of the random people that just happened to be in the killer's path that day, and he also is the one that has the keys to the building to let us in. So
yes.
There you go. There's the trade-off. And he was very upset at those crates. He did not like, those were, it was like his Achilles heel, with those crates. I felt for him. I really felt sorry for him.
Oh my gosh. He's something else. He's funny.
Was that his idea? Or was that your idea for the crates?
I think it was my idea.
I think you just told him to like be messing with something, like he's taking care of, the building.
Sometimes I can be a shitty director. I'll just, if I'm tired maybe, or burnout, or uninspired, I'll just be like, you know what, just do this. I don't tell them. Sometimes I just don't tell people what to do. And I really tried not to do that with this new one, Winter Wasteland. I really tried not to do that. I don't do it often, but I am guilty of it.
Well, now, if that's the case with the crates or not, you still needed something for the killer to kind of, get his attention. So him yelling and throwing around the crates and stuff worked for the killer to kind of, oh, look, here, there's somebody that I could go kill.
That might have been what I was thinking. It's hard to say.
I never thought of it that way, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, take credit for it. So that's okay. Take all my ideas, please. And of course, he gets killed with a broomstick. So, which, who knew that when he took that job, that broomstick would be his end? That's
things we love most. There are,
I know, it's very sad. I do like that the killer climbs the kind of like the ivy on the side, little Black Christmas in there. So I like that. I thought that looked good. Yeah, so I think that leads to the shot of him looking through the window and you see the Town That Dreaded Sundown poster. At least that's what I have. Yeah. And then both killers look, because they both look the same with the bag. So that's what I wrote down here. And then the actress who plays Heather, she's smoking on the deck. It's very lucky that you guys have a deck. I loved having a deck at one point. And she gets her very Chuck Norris like, just with the snapping of the neck. So I like that. That was good. And then he carries her away. So that kind of goes back to my question before, like, where are the bodies going and what's happening and all that. But I guess he's just doing gruesome things to them. So
maybe he's collecting.
He could be collecting. Could he maybe be making a body? Like he liked her eye, so he popped out that eye, and then he'd like another woman's eye, and he popped that eye out.
Yeah.
He could.
Yeah, he could be. Who knows? Oh my gosh, he could be feeding them to dogs. Who knows?
Yeah, because the daughter certainly seemed to like him at the end. Daddy and stuff like that. But the wife kind of just ignored him. So maybe he's just trying to make a new girlfriend.
Well, the wife didn't want to really even talk or really be seen on camera, so she really wasn't going to do anything at all as far as paying attention to him.
Got it. Okay.
And the woman, it's funny because it's actually his wife in real life.
I saw that in the credits. Yeah, she had the same last name. So
yeah.
So maybe that's how she treats him in real life. She's just kind of making dinner and
no, they have a good relationship. Actually.
And I liked the killer in the apartment, how everybody kind of kept missing one another. I thought that was done well. You've been in the apartment enough to where you kind of know the geography of the apartment, so it's not confusing. You guys have a ton of film stuff in there. I mean, with the bathroom, with the shower curtain, and I mean that's a lot of film stuff in there. I mean, you have like a museum. You have so much.
You mean like a lot of screen use props now? You mean?
Yes. I guess I could say it that way. Sure.
I think about that every time we use something. I still have I usually try to save a couple little things from each movie. I still have a whole Tupperware container of stuff from the original Dark Shade Creek that's been in storage. We have to dig it out this year. I'm really wondering what's in that thing.
Yeah, just kind of sprinkle it around a little bit, so people can maybe spot it. It's and of course, remember, it's a tax write-off. So, you're showing things like the posters and all that, and just write it off. Do what the big wigs do.
Good idea.
Yeah. And then let's see. So we got that. Let's see. Killer in the house. I did like girl gets knife in the head while sitting on the toilet. So that's a very nice way to go while you're on the toilet. So good for her.
Something about that scene that scares me. So he did a lot of like the prop stuff for these kills and things like that. So in order for that blade and when it retracts in, it doesn't pop back out. He would have to manually pull it back out, I think. And so when he takes it away from her head, he pulls his hand back really quick and back in the shower curtain, because he doesn't want anybody to see that the blade's gone because it's pushed back into the handle. But the way that he does it, it's so fast, it's so quick, it's just creepy. It's just like, hey, I stabbed you. Okay, now nobody see me. I don't know. It just, the way that he moves his hand and the pace at it, it freaks me out. And I don't like that, but it's one of my favorite parts.
But could it be then that maybe the blade got stuck in her head?
It could be.
And it like broke off. Like he hit her so hard, and then when he pulled it out, there was no blade left because it was like stuck in her skull.
Yeah, it could be, but he didn't, I guess he didn't want it to be that way, because but just the way that it comes across in film, the first time we watched it, I was like, ooh, I don't like that, because it just doesn't seem, okay, you just stabbed a girl, why do you care? So it just gives me that, like, again, that like air of mystery, like, ooh, it was just the way he moves his hand back, it's just weird. I don't know.
Well, and he must have been waiting in that shower for a little bit. I mean, you know, what if nobody had to go to the bathroom?
That's a good point.
He'd just be hanging out in the shower.
He was watching us all night. He knows we were drinking. It wouldn't have taken too long.
He's like, I can't wait till somebody comes in here and starts pooping. This is going to be the most dignified way that I could possibly kill somebody, is right on the toilet. So it's, I've pointed that out recently in some reviews I did for the Scream movies, that it's if one of the characters took a left, Ghostface would have no idea what was going on. It's they purely write for, as much as I love the Scream films, it's Ghostface has to be in this room. He has to be waiting. The victim has to come in. If they took a left instead of the right, Ghostface would just be sitting in there for like hours. You know,
forgot something, had to get back in the car and drive away.
Yeah, you know, because you kind of look at that stuff in movies like, oh, what if that person went left instead of right? What if that person used the downstairs bathroom instead of the upstairs bathroom? So, but at least that's stuff that I look at. So it has to make more of a logical type of sense. So so when I saw him in the bathroom, like, how long was he waiting in that shower for? You know, and it's a good thing that somebody had to go, because maybe he like spiked their food with something and she'd be like, oh no, my stomach, now I have to go to the bathroom. Could be off screen, you never know.
Yeah, could have been.
Yeah. And then I did write here about the cat jumping up onto the chair, the black cat. So we discussed that. You have an Amityville pillow that I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I ordered that. Oh my, years and years ago, but I can't remember the website that I ordered that from. It was somebody that I used to follow on Instagram. They had like homemade things.
Yeah, I thought, oh, cool, that's nice. Yeah, because I have a whole Amityville collection, so that's try to get two Amityville. Well, I sent you the scripts for two Amityville scripts, two Amityville films, but they're pricey. They're not cheap to make. So I mentioned that I like the killer walking down the street, killer in the middle of the street. I like, there's good music in that scene. It's a good shot. Let's see, killer knocks Mia out and removes her face. That's so we're coming up on that. And then I like the picture of the three friends, and that one of them with like the tongue sticking out. It was kind of sad knowing that they were all dead. So, and you don't leave anybody left alive for a sequel. So it'd have to be a completely new cast, which means Mia, you can't be in it unless you play like a twin.
Maybe that's why I don't want to make another one. No, it's not. It's not, because I think it would be cool to one day, I guess, when I just love acting so much that maybe one day when I don't know, find a project I'm more invested in on the other side of things, I think it would be cool to just sit back and really not so much direct, but definitely I like the whole acting coach thing. I like to like help direct the girls, and so a lot of times they're like, well, I don't know, I don't this, and sometimes he's just like, well, you just do it like this. And so I kind of, having more experience as an actress, try to give them like a sense of where to come from, and I think maybe one day we could do that. But
For sure.
yeah, that's maybe why I don't want a sequel.
Well, it's good that you like to do those things because a lot of people wouldn't even acknowledge that. I mean, they would just whatever, so it's good to have that detail in there that you're that person who kind of can drive them and make them focus.
When you're working on no budget and it's literally your friends that are just doing it because you asked them to and they want to do it, you don't always have people that are going to know how to approach being in a movie, regardless of how big of a budget it is. They're going, okay, I have to read these lines and now say them. And it's not something, these people have office jobs. They don't have, a background in anything film wise for them to draw from or to pull from. So it is nice that I've always been obsessed with special features on DVDs and stuff like that too. So watching those since I was a kid and now being in movies, I can kind of help if somebody's really stuck. Most of the time, they kind of are good enough to know what to do, but sometimes on certain ones, I can kind of be like, no, this is what we're doing. You're in this position. How would you really be like, and kind of help set the mood so that they can get that scene done with a little more authenticity.
How does that work with friends? I mean, does anybody take anything personally, or is it, no?
I yell at him and cuss at him. And
more me than anybody else.
So David's like the good cop, you're the bad cop type of thing?
Oh, we're just at each other's throats a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That's why I grew the
never...
beard, was to hide all the stuff,
Most of the time I just pick because I feel like sometimes if I get people riled up, I get more out of them.
And how many takes do you normally do? What type of director are you?
A handsome one.
Oh, wow.
That was a bad dad joke, John. I go just until I like to take. Usually, I would say no more than 3 to 5 takes.
Sometimes if we get it good enough on the first take, it's like, all right, cool, let's move on.
We had a really good group of people for this last movie, and these girls were each remembering like 4, 5, 6 lines a piece, so we can do like 3-minute segments without the camera even moving. So it was pretty cool.
And what about, because like you were mentioning with the the scene that I like with the bed sheets and all that stuff, you talked about like rehearsals and all that. How important is it to rehearse? What do you think about that?
We usually don't.
Oh.
Our rehearsing is, okay, let's read the script. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I think we can get to about here. Okay, we're going to get to here and then we'll cut and then you can do something else. Okay, cool. All right, let's read them. Oh, da, 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 da. Oh yeah, da, 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 da. Okay, I think we're ready. We've read it 2 or 3 times. Put the scripts to the side. Here we go. 2 or 3 times. All right, great. Pick the script back up. Where can we go to next? So that's our process.
Okay. So do you what can you get done in a day? So like how many pages?
We've done a lot of pages. The other night when we shot at our friend's house, we probably went through 12 pages, you think?
12 pages. It was 4 scenes. It was a
12
lot.
pages in about 5 hours, 4.5 hours.
Do you shoot like the full days? Like do you go 12-hour days, 14, that type of thing?
There's been times that we've done that, especially with Dark October. We've met people at like 9 in the morning, and then we'll stop around 8, 9 o'clock at night. It just depends if they're daylight scenes or nighttime scenes, when the sun goes down, when it comes up.
Where we're traveling to, like on Sunday, we filmed the diner scene for Winter Wasteland, and that was the only thing we had on the day. So we only filmed that one scene and it took 3 hours and that's all we did. But if we have the whole cast together and everybody's free and we are able to get more
we try to blast as much out as we can. I would say probably overall it takes anywhere from 10 to 15 days total to make a film.
Yeah, because you make them pretty fast.
I try.
We try not to piss around. We get people that we can depend on. We get people that pretty much knows what they're doing. I edit in between all the shoots so I don't get backed up on footage. And then when it's done, IMDb, trailer, Kunaki,
And out.
Prime, yeah, just
And
done.
into my hands. So all of a sudden,
And
there it
into your
is.
hands.
It's
Yeah.
like, wow, I thought this was just starting to film and I already have it in my hands. So yeah, because you go, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's really good. I mean, some people can do that pretty well and others can't. And you guys seem to do it pretty well. So, you know, it also shows that you're dedicated and that you can get a film done. So if a studio is looking for somebody, you know, they know who to look for, you know, because you're not
Good
taking
point.
5 years to make a, you know, one movie. You're
Right.
getting it, you know, in and out. So,
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
so name something bad that happened. And I don't mean like somebody died on set or something, but just like name something bad that happened on set and then something good that happened on set.
Oh boy.
For this movie,
Yes, but if you have a good one for another one, sure.
something bad.
bad.
Like maybe like a car ran out of gas and you couldn't get it, or like you were locked out.
I was really sick when we were shooting the Easter egg for it. I don't know what was wrong. Something was wrong with my stomach. I was super sick. In fact, we had to cancel it the first day because I was just could not get out of bed. And then
I wasn't even there the day you filmed the Easter egg.
No, you weren't. Oh my God, it was horrible. It was all I could do to drive over there. It was just horrendous.
Oh wow.
So that's probably the worst memory of the movie.
And then
but
something
then-
really good.
Something really good. We got to fellowship with our friends.
Yeah, I would say the whole thing was like a big party.
Yeah, it was probably the funnest one we've ever done.
Okay, that's good. That's nice to hear.
All of the time together was the best.
And then just a couple more questions, and then I'll let you guys go because I know it's late. From basically, let me find it here. Nope. That's not it. Where are we at? This one to okay. So, what would be the difference from this film to this film as far as filmmaking goes for you? What have you learned between these movies?
Well, the first thing that I learned is where the hell the fade transition is on the editing software. Because in Dark Shade Creek 1, every single cut is to black. Every transition's to black. I didn't know what just a standard fade transition was. I spent days Googling shit like, what is this magical thing where the picture goes into another picture and then changes? I don't know what that is. Because I was only using fade to black. And I'm sure it affects the watch, but it also, I guess, adds to
The
charm of the film because I really didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't done artistically. It wasn't done by accident. It was the only thing that I knew how to do. It was a $40 software. Never done a thing like this in my life. And that's just how it turned out. So now I do more regular fades and sometimes draw those fades out. Fade to colors. This movie that I'm doing right now, I've gotten a gimbal since then. I'm definitely doing more tripod shots on this one because the script is actually twice the length of any of my other scripts. I don't think the movie will be much longer, but there's twice the dialogue. So I've definitely learned that.
You've
Oh no, I'm sorry.
evolved.
Go on.
I was just thinking like he's definitely evolved in really learning how to make it feel as cinematic as you can while still feeling like it's like a low budget, just indie, it's kind of a good mix of like trying to embrace the fact that you're low budget, but also doing the best with what you can at the same time.
What type of editing software do you use?
It's called AVS Video Editor. It's the same editor I've used from the very first movie. Different computer.
I haven't heard of it. Is it like Mac, Windows?
Windows.
Windows?
There's a lot of, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, have you thought of like doing something like Premiere Pro or one of those other ones?
Oh
that's
yeah,
more
yeah, we
mainstream?
thought about that, and we've thought about that about 5 times. And every time we download it and I open up the program, I'm just like, fuck this, and I get rid of it. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's because I'm older. I don't want. It's not that I don't want to learn something new. I just don't really feel like I want to get into all that fancy stuff, because the films that I grew up on weren't made with stuff like that. Well, they weren't made with the shit that I'm using either, but it's what I'm using is more, I guess it's just more organic, more raw. It's just basic things. And for, 30 years, 40 years, movies were made that way. And everything that you see has to be done and made that way. There's not CGI. There's not, I don't know.
I think if you had somebody sit you down and was able to be with you every time you edited and could help you everything you wanted to do, if you had someone standing next to you telling you, okay, you can do this, do that, do this, do that. But it's hard. I'm one of those people too, where if I have to teach myself, I'm not going to want to do it unless I absolutely have to. I used Photoshop to edit for a long time before I even was like, oh, maybe I should give Lightroom a chance. Made my life a world of difference in editing.
Well,
photos.
I guarantee that it would not make my life easier. I can guarantee that.
But you would still be able to, you'd be putting in the same amount of work. You just have a software that'd be able to do more.
Either way. That's what I use, and I don't see myself changing anytime.
Yeah, I think it's just whatever works for you. I mean, it's whatever makes you feel comfortable. So there's a filmmaker I know, Donald Wills. He does everything on his phone, literally everything on his phone. Like he shoots it on his phone, he edits it on his phone, he does credits on his phone. Everything is on his phone. Wow. So why change? Just whatever makes you happy. I was forced to learn how to use Premiere Pro. So that's what I use. I don't think that I would use anything else, maybe an upgraded version of it, but that's about it. Right. So it's something that I've always used. So I like it because it syncs up sound really easy. So, and I actually have a police officer at the door. I will be back in a second here with one last question, and then I'll let you go. I'll be right back.
All righty.
We have a guy that just broke in here and he looks like he's cutting.
Is it Foy's?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Foy's?
Okay.
I know. Yes, it's Foy's.
Guys, I'm gonna have to go. We seem to have an issue here. So, yeah,
Sure,
I'm gonna have to cut
sure.
it off. We're at 2 hours anyways, and so I appreciate you being here, and I will talk with you guys in a little bit. And thank you everybody for joining us. And this is an interesting thing. So I will talk with you later.
All right. Good luck. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Literally happening right now.
So let me.
He might be.
Hey, everybody. I wanted to make this follow-up video to kind of show what happened after I had to leave the interview. Pretty much, I was doing the interview, and David and Mia were there, and we were just one question away from finishing the interview. And basically, it's the question that I ask, all my guests. Is there anything that you would like to promote? It could be from the past, it could be the present or the future. And then that ends it. So there was probably maybe 5 minutes left of the interview, maybe 10 minutes at most. And right before I was about to ask the question, that's when I saw a police officer at the door. And I pretty much thought that he was there to kind of ask, why am I there? You know, the office closes at 6. Why am I there at, 8 o'clock at night? And so I had no idea that it was for anything else. So when I went to the door, I was just expecting to give him, an answer of something like, oh, I work here. I'm just doing like an interview. I'm doing a podcast and, going to be finishing up in a couple of minutes and then leaving. And then that'd be it. And, but what it ended up being was that they were chasing a guy, and was going around and stealing catalytic converters, and he got caught, and somebody called the cops, and he split, and he ended up I guess running onto my property, and which I had no idea about. And from what the cops were saying is that he got in through the RV area. We have a fire gate over there, which I don't see how that's really possible. But I mean, that's what the police officer said. And so he wanted to look at our security cameras, which I let him. Our security cameras suck. They're really bad. You could barely see anything at night. But surprisingly, the 3 angles that we did get, you can see this guy on the property. And I want to show you those 3 angles. Plus, I did shoot some video from inside the office, looking at the police cars. And as odd as this sounds, I was actually trying to get some kind of like cool shots, with my phone, like, ooh, that side, that police light looks good in the, in the glass, and it's reflecting really nice, or it's shining off the wall or whatever. And even though catalytic converters, it's not too serious because it's just an insurance thing. But it is serious because it's a nationwide problem. Is cars, trucks, vans, any RVs, anything that has a catalytic converter, because of this mineral that's in the catalytic converter, are now sought after. And this is happening throughout the country. And people will just basically get right underneath, and they'll use a grinder, which is something that I use at work all the time to cut locks with. And they'll just and then they'll just pop it right out and sell it for the mineral that's inside. Now, once that catalytic converter gets replaced, that mineral is no longer in there. You could tell that it's been replaced, and nobody's going to touch it. But if it's new or it's never been replaced, they're going to go after it. And that's what this guy was doing. So the officer came in and he looked at the cameras. We saw a couple things. And then he and about, I want to say, maybe 8 police officers were roaming around the property. They had a dog with them that was sniffing around the RV area. And they were also checking our other fire gate, and they were at our main gate, which is by the office. And there was a bunch. So there was the main gate. There were about 3 or 4 police cars at our fire gate by the RV area. There was at least 2 or 3. And then the other fire gate, which is over by 7-Eleven, that's right next door to us, they were the same thing, like 2 or 3. So they kind of had this whole area blocked off, and I couldn't leave. One, they blocked in my car, but also they didn't want me to leave, and told me just to stay inside the office. So I was kind of looking through the cameras while the officers were checking the grounds, and I did find some stuff for them. Unfortunately, the guy, he left before they got there. They like just missed him, but I want to show you guys that stuff. So I kind of put it together where there's footage of me filming like the police cars and stuff, bookending it, so beginning and end, and then in the middle there's the 3 like security camera like footage that I got. And so I just wanted to show that to you to kind of complete what happened that night. And it was interesting. Nothing like this has happened before. People think working in a storage facility is boring. It is not. Every day something happens, and a lot of the times it's weird. So let's go check out that video, all that video that I have, which it's not a lot, but it's kind of cool. And yeah, so thank you, David and Mia. I do appreciate you, being interviewed and being, for one filmmaker, one film. Thank you for your patience on waiting while I was talking to the police officer. We'll have to do it again for another film. And thank all of you for watching it, and hopefully to continue watching it to kind of get this little follow-up video, just so you can see some stuff of what was going on after I had to leave the interview. So let's go check it out now. Okay, so these are just some of our merchandise inside the office. I thought that the police lights looked kind of cool reflecting off of them. It's mostly just plastic and metal. So yeah, I just thought that it looked kind of cool. Maybe like a interesting way to start this. And then here are the police cars. So there's, I believe, 2 there, and there's a 3rd. And I believe later on a 4th shows up because, like I mentioned before, I can't get out of the parking lot. There's a police officer walking to our gate. I left it open for them so they could get in and out. And right here, you're seeing reflections of 2 other police officers walking around the property. So my car is to the left. You actually just saw another police car driving by in the background there. So lots of police. Kind of a cool shot too. Now here's our security footage. If you look down on the left-hand corner, you could see the guy walking. Very, kind of like just taking a walk. He probably thinks he's safe. No sirens yet or anything. So this is before the police actually show up. And he's just kind of cruising from the the front of the property to the back. And like I mentioned, the police did say that they think he entered through our RV area, which I'm just not really sure how that's possible. But okay, I mean, we don't have cameras down there, so I wouldn't be able to check that. And, when he gets all the way to the back, he just kind of turns right. And you can see him moving. He's just a little dot all the way down there. And he goes behind the building. Now, so that was the left-hand side. This is now the right-hand side. This is our other fire gate. So now he's running. You could see him running there. He runs to the right. The police sirens are most likely starting. He could hear them because, like I said, they did block off all the fire gates, including our main gate. So he's just jogging. He's just trying to get out of there. And here's our main gate. And you're about to see why I keep telling management our security sucks. Watch this. Right up on the motor box. Puts his foot right up on our gate and jumps right over. That's like, what, 30 seconds, if that? And then just casually walks away like he's just any old guy. Like, hey, I'm not stealing catalytic converters. And then he walks over towards 7-Eleven. And then here's some other footage I shot. So I think by this point, see there, you can see a cop car there pull in. So that's probably cop car number 4. I think the clock up there says like 8:45 because I was there late. The interview was around 2 hours, and then and I think I was there for about an extra hour. Here's a different angle. Once again, just thinking they're just kind of cool shots of the lights reflecting in the in the glass. I'm pretty much just waiting to go home. I'd check the security cameras, and that's the footage that I found for them. But then they figured, the guy already left. Hey, look, there's me. So thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate you watching. and I'll see you on the next video. Bye. Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out after the video, and thank you for watching the very first Dark Park Films sponsored video. And who is that sponsor? Well, I've now learned if I do this with my hands, they go to the right area. There we go. That would be Wildlife Command Center Coffee, and you can purchase it right there. You can go to their website, which is buyWCC.com, and pick up their coffee. They have 2 blends, which I'm going to show you now. The first coffee is this one right here. This is a breakfast blend. It's 10 ounces, and it is a medium ground. And it does say, and it's breakfast, like I said, and this is what it says right here. It says, early bird can catch the worm. So there you go, a breakfast blend coffee that helps you catch the worm in the morning. And I really like this one. I'm more of a breakfast kind of blend coffee guy in the morning. So this one I really like. It has that little bit of oomph to it to kind of get you moving, get you up and out. And so I really enjoy this one, but that doesn't mean that I don't like the other one, which is this one right here. This is a dark roast. It is also 10 ounces, and both of these are $7.99 at their website. Pretty good price for 10 ounces worth of ground coffee. This one is, it's a little darker, so it's, I think it's better for drinking at night. Maybe if you're writing a screenplay, or if you're filming, this has got that oomph, that double punch to get you going. So this is one that I also recommend. I like both of these quite a bit, but I kind of do, the breakfast in the morning and then the dark more at night. So I recommend both of these quite a bit. And how did I find out about these two, these 2 coffees here? And how did I find out about Wildlife Command Center? Well, when I was working on Night of the Zomghouls, there was a box of coffee that was just sitting there, filled with coffee. And we didn't know what to do with it. Like, whose is this? Who brought it? Why is it here? And so we just kept going to the store and buying coffee. And then one day I said, why don't we just get the coffee out of the box and use that instead of, wasting money on going to Smith's or whatever and picking up coffee. So we did. We did not realize that it was the Wildlife Command Center coffee, and that it, was sponsoring the movie. And it was great coffee. Everybody loved it. And we just went right through it. By the last day of filming, this coffee was gone. And I went and found out, about Wildlife Command Center, asked if they would like to be a sponsor for Dark Park Films, for their coffee. As many of you know, I love coffee. I love coffee mugs. And so this was a perfect match. And Wildlife Command Center is great with animals. So they provide a great service for rescuing animals. So it's kind of that double whammy for me, where coffee, helping animals, you can't go wrong. And they were even cool enough to send me, get in there, a coffee mug, because they knew that I liked coffee mugs. And right now, I don't get that. That a little bit. I'm going to go on the keyboard, but that's their dark blend, because I'm recording this at night. So I am actually drinking that while recording. Also, one thing that you can get at their website, which is cool, is you can get this. There you go. This pocket knife, which is $9.49. And this is pretty cool because it has their name on it. Wildlife Command Center, we can catch it. And this is what it looks like. Put that down there. There we go. Fully out. So you're getting like the bottle opener, you got the corkscrew, you got a screwdriver, you got a blade, and then you got this little hook thing that you could pop it into something that doesn't have a tab, and then you know, the liquid or whatever in there will come out. So this is pretty cool. And I'm just going to keep mine in my car because you never know, you might need a pocket knife. So please support them. I'm going to have links down below, you know, where you can, you know, check out just the Wildlife Command Center. I'll also have a link for Wildlife Command Center coffee, and it will basically be for both these guys right here. And please support them. I support them. I think what they do is pretty awesome. And you know, maybe this coffee will be on your set or in your kitchen. It will definitely be, you know, on my set in my kitchen. I know that. So please, once again, I'm going to show you these. Please go to their website and pick up their coffee and make it part of your day or night, depending on which one you like. So that'll be about it. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. And yeah, so thank you. And once again, please support my channel. Please support the Wildlife Command Center, and I will catch you later. Bye.